I'm standing in the middle of the street here in Egypt, actually about to go do some grocery shopping at that Carrefour that you see behind me. But I wanted to film this video outside to show you, based off of my environment and even this car's license plate, that I'm actually in the country of Egypt. And I'm going to be answering, is Egypt still safe to travel to as of June 5th, 2024? Shalom, my name is No Limit Eddie. I'm a 24-year-old American who's been living in Egypt for the last 3 years. And I've documented every step of that journey here on this channel. So if that sounds interesting to you, then drop a like on today's video so YouTube recommends you more videos you'll love. All right, let's go to my apartment and talk about this. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been living in Egypt for 3 years. So I was here 2 years before the conflict started, and I've also been here the entire duration of the conflict. Therefore, I have a very full perspective of what has changed since the start of the war and how it's affecting daily life here on the ground. And I don't want this to be another is Egypt safe video that's very generic. I really want to tell you guys my honest opinions. So what exactly is going on in Egypt that has people questioning, is it safe? Well, you see, Egypt right now is bordered by 2 different countries that are having full-out wars. One of these wars gets almost no media coverage at all, while the other gets non-stop media coverage. So to the south, you have the conflict going on in Sudan. There is a full-out civil war going on right now in Sudan. And that, of course, is wrecking the country, famines, dangers that are causing a lot of Sudanese people to want to flee the country. Where they're going to flee to? Why not the country that's nearest to them? Egypt. And so right now, Egypt has taken on 450,000 Sudanese refugees since the start of that conflict. And of course, that gets almost no media coverage at all. But that is a very real conflict happening very close to Egypt. And then to the opposite of that, you have in the northeast, Israel and Gaza and the whole conflict going on over there. And of course, that's a much bigger news story, so that's getting much more media coverage. And that probably is a conflict that has you really concerned or contemplating on if Egypt is still safe to travel to. And the whole Israel-Gaza conflict, it is very sensitive, because on one side you have people that are super charged up, on the other side you have people that are equally charged up. You have the threat of international arrest warrants for both the leaders of Israel and leaders of Hamas. It's all very interesting. But you didn't click on this video to find out more about the conflicts. You clicked on this video to find out how is all these different conflicts affecting your ability to travel in the country of Egypt. And here's a short answer. It's not. Everything is going on as normal. When the situation first kicked off, there was a vibe of sadness in the air. Because of course, most Egyptians are aligned with Palestine. So to see the destruction of the people and the land, combined with, at the time, the major economic downturn of the Egyptian pound. Right now, Egypt is experiencing pretty much hyperinflation, that the value of the pound is dropping considerably compared to the US dollar. Then you add that to the fact that it was cold at the time, and yes, Egypt does get cold, for those guys who don't know. It gets cold in the wintertime. All those 3 things combined to create the perfect storm that made the whole vibe in Egypt feel down, feel less cheery, less bright, less welcoming. But that has since passed. You know, as they say, time heals all. So I think just as time went on, people just kind of adjusted to it, and the vibe has become a lot better since. The second change I noticed in the country of Egypt, so the part that I live in, I live right on the Red Sea. So I can go to my balcony right now and look over and I'll see the Red Sea. So when the Houthi rebels first started attacking different ships and vessels in the Red Sea, I noticed a very big increase in security. So I have driven a motorcycle here in Egypt, and I noticed during that time where the rebels were attacking a lot of ships, the amount of checkpoints increased dramatically. So in Egypt, they don't really get behind you and light up the sirens and pull you over. They normally have kind of things similar to DUI checkpoints. And they'll cut off certain lanes and direct traffic all into either 1 lane or 2 lanes. They'll have officers stand there and they'll check everyone's IDs and registrations. And so in the first 2 months of the whole Houthi rebels attacking ships, I got pulled over more in those 2 months than I did the previous 12 months, right? So security really increased during that time. Now, that was going on for maybe a month and a half to 2 months, but now that has since subsided. The last change that I really did notice was the amount of support for Palestine. So I started noticing a lot of cars having the Free Palestine sticker or the Palestine flag. A lot of people, from the youth up to the elders, wearing t-shirts that are like Free Palestine, from, billboards even having a Palestinian flag on it. I noticed there was a big uptick in support for visual support for Palestine since the conflict has started. But do any of these changes affect your ability to travel around the country of Egypt safely? Not at all. All right? I'm still here and I feel 100% safe. My sister also lives here and she feels 100% safe as well. So if a friend or a family member were coming to me asking, Eddie, should I still travel to Egypt? Is it safe? And this has happened, and I just tell them, yes, Egypt is still safe to travel to as of now. And just to be real with you guys, if I felt that my life was in any form of grave danger, I wouldn't be in this country anymore, right? I would go somewhere else. There's a lot of different countries that I can easily pop in and pop out of and, make my lifestyle there, okay? So if Egypt was dangerous, like to where I was like my life is in danger, I would just go somewhere else. Now, I do want to share with you guys my concerns, okay? Things that are in the back of my head that I worry about that I still want to pass on to you. But before I do, check this out. By the way, it's Eddie here. It's super loud. I'm in the airport right now, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick message. For those of you guys who are like, okay, I'm in the airport, like I said. How do you travel? How do you do the things that you're doing without ever talking about going to work, without ever talking about having to clock in or clock out for your job or have to ask for time off? Well, I created a free training. It's 10 minutes long and it's in the description of my video. If you always wanted to know how to make money online, well, now is a really good time to learn. Click the link in my description and put your name and email in and watch the free training. Personally, like I said, Egypt is fine for now. You see, even though Egypt is far away, it's still close enough to be accidentally hit. There are 2 times where I can remember Egypt being hit with a stray. So there was a one time where there was a mislaunched rocket that hit a town called Taba, T-A-B-A, and it injured 6 different people. And then there's also, around that same time, was a drone strike. There was a drone above a town called Nueva, and the Egyptian authorities shot it down. It just fell in the desert. No one was hurt in that one there. That's why I say Egypt is close enough for things to accidentally or purposefully hit the country. And with there being arrest warrants for leaders on both sides of the conflict, there has not been an arrest warrant yet, but there's potential arrest warrants by the ICC, the International Court, where they're saying that they may arrest the leader of Israel and also the leader of Palestine. And as they say, nothing bites more than a cornered dog. My thoughts is there could be an attempt to escalate this conflict to make it wider, to cause more chaos, and therefore distract people, which will allow the leaders of whichever country to maintain power for at least a little bit longer. I also had another concern, which was the Houthis attacking ships on the Red Sea. You see, my concern wasn't necessarily for my safety, being that I'm on land. My concern was that with all these attacks on the ships, it may potentially cause supply chain issues. And with maybe things not arriving to ports because they're being attacked or because they were stolen or because they were delayed, it could have caused supply chain issues, which then would have increased the price of goods here in the country. Egypt is already experiencing hyperinflation. You wouldn't want anything to come in and kind of make that worse, right? And simultaneously to that, I was thinking, okay, even if the supply chain is not necessarily disrupted, right, through the ships not arriving to the ports because they were attacked or stolen or whatever, I was thinking that they may then have to hire security, right, armed security, and because there's a bigger risk of the ships being taken or hurt or attacked, they're going to then charge their merchants more money, right? So let's say, for example, have a water bottle here. Pravana needs to ship its water in from Saudi Arabia, right? And now the ship is saying, hey, I got to cross the Red Sea to get from Saudi Arabia to Egypt. That's dangerous. So my crew wants more money. My insurance company wants more money. I got to hire armed security. So now I'm thinking the cost of shipping may have increased. So they pass it on to the merchant. They pass it on to, let's say, the company. Let's say in this case, Pravana. And then Pravana then says, well, we're paying more for shipping. We have to charge you, the customer, more money, right? So I was thinking that it may cause the inflation to be a lot worse because of that whole Red Sea drama, Red Sea conflict. But the U.S. and British naval forces, boom, 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 did some things to the Houthi rebels, and the Houthi rebels just calmed down for a very long time. As I was planning this video, that was the update, but then just literally a day or two ago, the Houthis decided to attack another ship, right? So they started it back up again, and so those concerns have now been revised, right? Now those concerns have been revived in a way, I should say. because now the Houthi rebels are attacking ships once again in the Red Sea. Now, all the incidences that I've talked about, everyone has survived those, right? Up to my knowledge. But I wrote and planned this video out like 2 weeks ago, and since then, there was just a very new news article where the Egyptians were not so lucky. There was a shooting between an Egyptian guard and the Israeli forces on the border of Egypt and Israel. And that incident took the life of an Egyptian man. Now, this has not stirred up anything else outside of investigations. Both countries are investigating what happened to prevent this from happening again in the future. I know there are also Egyptians watching this video, and this is their homeland. So they may feel that potentially I'm talking bad about it, saying that it's unsafe. So to keep a balanced perspective, for the potential tourists weighing if they should come to Egypt or not, if it's still safe, we should hold realistic expectations when we're traveling. If the country you're coming from is not completely safe, why would you expect the country you're visiting to be completely safe as well? And this is just my perspective. Even with this conflict going on right over yonder, I still feel safer in Egypt than I ever did living in America. So, is Egypt safe right now? Yes. If your trip, of course, is far out, you should keep an eye on the situation because this is a war, and wars evolve every single day. Alright, so if your trip is far out, definitely keep an eye on the situation. But if your trip is near, if your trip is close, Egypt is still a 100% go in my opinion, and you'll be 100% feeling safe while you're here. So come to Egypt, visit all the sites you wanted to visit, experience all the things you wanted to experience, interact with the locals, spend some money, have a good time in the country. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all willing. Shalom.